Well, we're moving on up to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky. We're moving on up to the east side, moving on up. We finally got a piece of the pie. Dum 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 dum. Fish don't fry in the kitchen. The beans don't burn on the grill. Took a whole lot of trying just to get up the hill. Doom doom. Now we're up in the big leagues. That's why I'm wearing a jersey today. We're in the big leagues. We're in the big leagues. We're also in the big leagues because we have some heavy hitters here at Live from the Black House today. I'm gonna put in the comments. We're doing this for the first time. We're moving on up. Okay. I'm gonna put in the comments a link if you would like to join the conversation. We've never done that before.
Oh,
awesome. We've never done it. We've never done it. So if you happen to be an opponent of one of these,
ask your questions.
Ask
yeah,
your
this is your chance.
Ask your question. You know, I always start each episode out with a like cornily in a corny way, singing the theme song to a sitcom because everything is a cold open these days. Everything is on social media. There was something about hearing the theme song and sort of like being gently eased into the show, That's the environment that we like to make here. I see my mother, Durell Douglas. Mom will watch my show. Let me tell you something. Don't you love your mom?
Yes.
Right? Yes. Oh, someone said, So let me guess. You feel about your mom the way I feel about my dad? If you're a long time listening, you know what I'm talking about. This is quite an interesting situation that we have going on here. We have two gifts today. The first one comes from the person that is sitting beside me, a book. And you see, it's actually like it's a book. Anybody have a friend that said that they wrote a book and then you like went to their, book signing at the Chick-fil-A, and it was a 23-page book.
A picture book.
It was a picture book. It was a pamphlet. It was a pamphlet. And you paid your $27 and you nodded along, right? This is not that. This is a book. World peace starts in your community, so therefore it starts with you. That's what he says. Give peace a chance because of the deliberate poor actions of African leaders, young people in the continent of Africa, constantly marginalized, which directly generates a power struggle. In West Africa, military coups are becoming the solution to bad politics, which equally making regress for the future. While instability seems impossible, did you mean to put that like that? Or while stability seems impossible? Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Instability seems impossible.
It is due to bad political actors disregarding ethical principles when they have the honor and privilege to govern. Let me read that last part. It's due to bad political actors disregarding ethical principles when they have the honor and privilege to govern. There's an honor to serve and a privilege to serve. Ladies and gentlemen, to my right, your left, he could be the next Texas House of Representatives for District 149.
Yes, sir.
So that means that you would sit at the last seat. They don't do it like that. They don't do it like that. Right. Yeah, right. It's 150 members, 149 out of 50. To my right, your left, the one and only Mink Jawandor. Welcome to the Black House.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be around you, sir. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, don't gas me up. It's an honor to be here, not to be around me. But you wrote this book, Once Upon a Time in Freetown, from 1996 to 1999. For those who don't buy the book, can you tell us a little bit about what went on between 96 and 99?
Oh, 96 to 99. It was a power struggle in Sierra Leone, growing up in a country where we have a lot of people don't really know what happened in wars around the world.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I wrote that book is to explain those stories.
Okay.
From 1996 to 1999 is the time the actual war get into the city of Freetown in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
That's when the world actually hear about the blood diamonds. That's when
Absolutely.
we get attractive. And that's when they start amputating people and things like that. So
Okay.
that's why I wrote the book. I wrote to tell a story that you don't really hear about, in a way that if you turn on your TV right now, you're looking at the war going on in Gaza, other places around the world. You see
It's a war going on here in America. It's just different.
right?
You know, you ever saw Soylent Green?
Not
You ever read 1984?
Not yet.
We're living it right now. We're also joined by Dr. Darnella Wilkerson and Sharonda Hill, who are in the comments. Shout out to y'all. Quincy, were you telling me that we have a guest already? Somebody in the thing? Okay. Just making sure. So you're running for office now.
Yes.
What a climb to go from you were a refugee?
Yes,
I don't want to assume.
Yes.
I don't want to assume.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yes, I was
So
about to
you
point
were a
that out.
refugee.
Yes, sir.
And bring your mic closer. You need to bring your mic closer. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
So refugee to now you're running for office. Why are you running for office?
Well, I'm running for office to bring a change in my community, and also to be most of this time right now, currently my district is an international district where we have a lot of refugees. We have a lot of people that don't feel like they belong in society. And also based on the current situation, immigrants in our community confidence has been tested. Living there, people are scared to go even to a Fiesta. So
don't go to Fiesta.
Me running right now as a immigrant who grew up coming in as a refugee, went to school in my district, graduate now teaching in college. I wanted to be an example to show that we are part of the fabric of our community.
That's amazing.
That's one of the primary reasons I'm running. So that way we know we contribute as well as we leave.
Yes.
So I wanted to be an example. I wanted to bring a lights to that.
Yes.
That's part of one of my reasons I'm running.
That is great. That is awesome. We're also joined. So we said moving on up, and that's what a lot of people want to do these days. We saw Christian Menifee go from county attorney, and now he's Congressman Menifee. And if I have my say, he'll be congressman for 2 more years if y'all do what you got to do between now and March 3rd, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Vote for Christian Menifee. Mink didn't say that. Pat didn't say that. TK didn't say that. Carisha's in here too. Carisha didn't say that. I said it. But he got a promotion, right? And then, Audrey Lawton and Abby Kamen both said that they wanted to run for office, right? So that opened up, I don't know, did they open up Audrey's position too? Is someone running for that? She's a civil court judge. We didn't hear about it at all. But that's what happened. And so it opened up District C, where Abby Kamen, I never know. Abby, my apologies. To my left, your right. To my left. Listen, we're going to have fun here today. To my left, your right. Let me tell you something. I got a book from Mink, and I got a yard sign. Let me make sure it's in the screen, and an endorsement, okay? A proud endorsement of Patrick Oathout, who's running for Houston City Council District C. He was going to give me a t-shirt. They did not have my size.
I thought this was friendly territory.
I was going to wear the shirt. I was going to wear the shirt.
I know. We messed up.
Because here's the thing. I wasn't going to come like this today. I had a button, like calls ran over. Usually I try to dress up. Yeah. I try to wear a button down. I'm trying to be more professional, especially because I have Mink here today, right?
Right.
I have Mink, so I have to step it up. But I couldn't. And so I'm leaving the office like right on Main Street. And I was like, I could stop by the house right quick. But then I was like, did they deliver my dry cleaning? Do I even have something that's clean? So when you said you had t-shirts, I thought I would have been able to do it, but the sign works. Patrick Oathout.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Black House.
Well, thank you for having me. Patrick Oathout here. I'm running for Houston City Council District C. This is a special election on April 4th. So vacated because Abby Kamen's running for county attorney and Houston's got resigned to run rules. You should feel honored to have a yard sign because they're one of the rarest commodities these days. Yard signs end up not mattering that much in elections, but everybody wants them.
Yeah.
But often if you're giving someone a yard sign, they're already voting for you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a sunk cost, so you should feel pretty honored.
Yes. Yes. Now, I live in a high rise, so I can't put it. I can't put it in the front yard.
Yeah.
But I will go and illegally post it somewhere. Somewhere.
I do not endorse this message.
Like
in the district. See, this will be a bandit sign somewhere on West Gray if I have anything to do with it. But what made you run? What made you take me back to the moment that you see oh, Abby's not running. Walk me through the process.
Yeah, well, I grew up here. I went to Poe, Lanier, and Lamar, and know this city. I interned at City Hall several years ago, and I'm somebody who raises my hand when I see something go wrong. I joined the Army after January 6, 2021, because I was worried about the state of our democracy. I didn't want MAGA to take over the election process. And so I was a tank platoon leader at NATO Battle Group Poland, led 20 soldiers, 4 tanks. I'm gay, if you all haven't picked up on that yet. And so standing up, being a gay out combat officer was pretty awesome. But I got worried about democracy back here in my hometown. Trump's back in office. Abbott wants to take over the city. And I'm not going to let these folks take over my hometown. So I came back, left active duty in the Army, and saw this opportunity and was like, look, this is an opportunity. Cities are the front line now against Abbott and Trump. And we need city council members with the courage to fight for infrastructure, public safety, affordability, and to push back against Abbott and Trump when they try to strip our local control.
Look at that. Somebody's had some media training. Somebody practiced for this today. I want to ask you the same thing, Mink, before we go to a very special guest. What made you say, I'm going to do this? And walk me back there, because you're a father?
Yes.
You're a husband?
Yes.
You're a teacher?
Yes, sir.
You got a lot of shit going on. What made you say, and I want to be a candidate?
Well, I've been volunteering for the past 15 years.
Wow.
I volunteer for the best of them. I volunteer for Sheila Jackson Lee's. I volunteer for Ines Parker. I volunteer for Senator Sylvia Garcia. I volunteer for my first volunteer was for Peter Brown. And his son became the city controller. I volunteered for him. I was working down the street and saw that they wanted to have people out there to volunteer, and I signed up. And since then, I've been encouraged to do it over and over. And I understand my pace. Then I also started political science in college. Then I have a master's in public policy. So with that, I'm more into it, in theory, pretty much. Then I hear there people saying you need to run because you always participate, and you already have the knowledge, and you teach about it. I teach Texas government as well. So
that is so interesting. You teach Texas government,
yes,
and you're running for state representative.
Yes, and actually, they told me, they say we find value in what you're doing when you teach it and actually practically doing it.
Absolutely.
So the kids, I didn't even know the kids know that I was running. They Googled my name, my students, because I didn't want to tell them because of conflict. So they Googled my name and find out, why you didn't tell us? I said, well, I'm sorry.
I would have found a way. Yeah, I would have found a way to send a bat signal or something.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, call me next time. Because let me tell you what you should have done.
Right.
Let me tell you what you should have done. All of a sudden, make the tests very hard. Fail half the class.
Oh Lord.
Extra credit, volunteer for my campaign. But continue.
But now, if you do that, that's a conflict of interest, right? But again, I want to be part of changing my community. I grew up. I was in LSIC. The person that's in office right now was just getting into power.
Tell us who that is. Say her name.
Hubert Vo.
No, I thought you were talking about somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I thought you were going to say Tiffany Thomas.
No, Tiffany Thomas is amazing.
Okay.
She's amazing.
Okay.
She's known. She got, I can give you an example. When I was collecting signatures to get my register my candidacy, most of the people I spoke with at Fiesta or Walmart, because I work around the neighborhoods and things like that, they don't know who our representative is. But they actually know Tiffany Thomas. Yeah. Somebody thought I was running against her. Actually.
Oh, no.
I said, no. I said, she's an amazing person. She's well known.
Slash your tires.
I say she's well known and she's loved in the community. But I'm running because I wanted to see people in my community see that we, as we growing up, we can make a change. We can get involved in politics. Politics is local.
Yes. So
we as local in the community have to be part of it. We have to be part of change. The world is moving forward. We have to move along with it.
Absolutely.
As we grow together. And I want me to be an example.
Absolutely. You already are. You already are.
I have to tell a quick story, Mink, because this is I wanted to get into politics when my middle school debate coach ran for office. He ran in 2006 for Congress against John Culberson for CD7 that Lizzie Fletcher's in now.
Oh, wow.
As a middle school kid, I thought it was the coolest thing that my teacher was running for office. I got a sign. I thought it was like a celebrity moment.
Wow.
So you are, I mean, what you're doing, and you're going to win, and you're going to, inspire
Thank
many
you.
more people.
Thank you.
But you're doing it right now, being a candidate. Like, your students they're going to remember you for the rest of your life. You may not remember all your students' names, but they're going to remember you.
Yeah. It's going to be like a line shed moment, you running, them knowing someone. It's really interesting. A lot of people don't know someone who has run or that is in office. So, like, one of the reasons why we do this, and Carisha has come to some of them. We do these dinner series, and Stevie said, who's on the Facebook, we did a series with the county judge candidates. And what we do, we don't bring them all together, because you bring them all together and everything, it just gets boring. Everybody gets all into they get stiff, and they're looking at what everybody else is saying. And then they have these weird, like, well, everybody's performative. And it's like, no, we want to know where you went to school.
Right.
Who your mom and them.
True.
What made you want to run? True. And then that makes it relatable,
right.
And it doesn't feel like this stiff thing. Sometimes I don't want to vote. Sometimes I meet some of these people, I don't want to vote. Right. They make me not want to vote. Now, to Pat's left and my left, Carisha's right. Y'all can't see her, but she's here. Terrence Kuntz, one of the coolest people, and I don't just say stuff. He's one of the coolest people that I know, one of the most emotionally regulated people. You ever meet people and they're just frazzled all the time? TK is the opposite of that. Wow. In my opinion, I mean, and if it's not, you put on a good show. I remember a few years ago, and you can say you could judge a tree by its fruit. He has a son whose name is Noble, and there was some kind of story that came on the news where, like, Noble assisted his grandmother. Was it? He assisted his grandmother, and so how old was Noble at the time?
7.
Pull it closer, Deb. You don't have to lean up.
7.
Yeah. He was 7, and he was just so mature and so well prepared in that interview. Not only what he did, but the way that he, like, spoke to the camera. You could sense his soul. And knowing that he's your son, I was like, of course, this is what this man would produce. Welcome to the Black House, TK.
I appreciate it, Durell.
Yeah.
Thank you kindly.
What you running for?
I'm running for laughter and joy right now. I want peace in my life. That's all I'm running for. Peace, joy, happiness. I appreciate the kind comments and emotional regulation comment, depending on who you ask. I'm a work in progress, but definitely interested in evolving into the best version of myself that I can be ultimately. Yeah. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah. I was in New York over the weekend to see Lion King on Broadway. Okay. Tears. Okay. It was just beautiful. I'm not I mean, it was just, right. I'm a musician, the sounds, the colors, but in the beginning of Lion King, what's the song?
The Circle of Life.
The Circle of Life. And what really stood out to me now, you probably weren't born yet, but I had to be, it was like 94, 95, 96, somewhere around there. So I had to be like 7, 8, or 9 when it came out. I know the words of the song, but hearing it at 39 gave it a different meaning.
Wow. Yeah.
Gave it a different meaning. And something that you just said really stood out to me. You said you're becoming the best version of yourself. And I honestly believe that the purpose of life is every day to get another opportunity to become a more TK version of TK, a more Durell version of Durell. And every day, even if it appears that things are dying, right? Even if you do have those slumps, because you look at a tree, the trees lose the leaves. The leaves die in the fall and they lose them in the winter. Why? Because in the spring, that next spring, that is the strongest version of that tree that has ever lived. And in order for it to get to the next version, it has to go through that process over and over and over. And sometimes when we're put through interesting times, we don't understand that it's part of the plan. And I think you go through that over and over and over until you reach the pinnacle. And then you die. You die the best version of yourself, I believe.
I hope I got a few more cycles to go.
Please,
I'm not ready.
Was this all going through your head as you were watching Lion King?
It was. Well, because you hear and then it was very interesting because I don't remember this part, but at the end, Simba does the same thing that his dad did for him, right? Now, Quincy, I'm going to say, I see. Oh, I get it. So the Facebook can't see, but I can see what the thing is. Okay. Stevie says, if I ever have kids, I'm calling TK. Yes.
Oh man, thank you.
Yes, TK is just very, very cool, very measured, very just really cool. TK came to visit in Detroit. Well, you came for like a conference or something. We had fun in Detroit. What did you think of Detroit?
That was cool. It was looked like a lot of vacant houses and buildings. And then it wasn't as large as I had imagined it to be in comparison to Houston, you know. So
growing up in Houston, like Detroit is like District C. So it's like it when you grow up in a vast place like Houston, you have like a different perspective of like distance.
Yeah.
Because if you ask where something is or how far it is, I'll say it's 20 minutes. 20 minutes is nothing in Houston.
All right.
20 minutes? I remember one of my friends was in town and we were headed to Katy, which is basically Houston. Right. We're on I-10 in traffic. And one of my friends was like, are we still in Houston?
Yeah.
Really? And yeah, so tell us what you're working on.
I'm working on healing. I'm working on taking my experiences and sharing my stories on different platforms, different spaces, day-to-day engagement, like you said, you know, getting to the point where being the best version of myself, the revelation I've come to now is that all of the things that I've gone through were never about me. And it's more so to be an offering to the collective. So that's where I'm at now. So
say more about that.
Meaning, like, my experience as a father comes from a deficit in my childhood. So my passion and my awareness and my curiosity about my sons comes from a lack thereof for myself. And so he's one of the opportunities for me to use what could be perceived as a negative experience to do something positive with. And I've had several like that, like being arrested, going to jail. You know, I've had so many.
You want to talk about that?
Sure. I mean, just, you know, that's how I moved into community organizing, because I was arrested and I didn't have a job and I started volunteering, and eventually I found community organizing, which led me down the path of service, which led me down a path to healing. Because what I've noticed within myself, the more I worked on myself, the more I was able to engage with people who were holding trauma just like I was. Because we engage in communities, we go and knock on doors, but these people need food.
Yes.
Their sons in jail, their daughters in jail, the elders have holes in their roof. So they're not surfacing their trauma when they talk to you, but it's present. And so you're coming with fill out this petition, vote for this person. And they like, I'm hurting.
Yes.
Do you care? And so through community organizing and my own healing process, it is put me in a place now where I'm more, you know, just passionate about healing. And I say this, I've been on a few couches lately, like, I'm not as a guru. You know, I think I told you that too. I think some people, if you feel like a guru in the thing, I don't think I'm a guru about healing yet. I think I've had some amazing breakthroughs in my life. I think I got a lot more to go, but I'm willing to share any information that I have to help somebody figure out what their healing journey could look like. You know,
absolutely.
Where do you start by diagnosing that? Like, if somebody's, you know, hurting.
When you say, I mean, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, if we were sitting here long enough, we might get into a space where you share something with me and I might ask you a question like, well, how did that make you feel? And you might give me a surface answer. And I probably was like, how did you really feel? And if you were vulnerable enough to share with me, then, you know, I would inquire. It's natural for me, you know, because I really care about people. That's, you know, sometimes you have folks who, hey, how you doing today? And somebody say, okay. If you say okay to me, say, why is it just okay? Words have power, you know. So
all right, true.
I've evolved into something.
How are you doing today?
I am aware of my emotions. I'm holding some hurt in this room right now, but I'm also very happy to be in the room. And Durell's energy is like lighting up the room with the joy and the humor. So I'm glad I'm here. Always. And then him talking about the Lion King, I feel like this could have been on stage with this outfit. You know, I was ready to, you know, so but I'm doing good. You know, I'm balanced. I'm aware. Yeah.
You know, I tell the story all the time about being expelled my 11th grade year, going into 12th grade year from the high school for law enforcement where you went. That bitch Carolyn Mostete. That was her first year as principal, and she was not. Carisha is dying over there. Anyway, we cuss here, so feel free. And so I'll never forget. My mom is like reading this letter, and I'm reading it. And it's like, oh my gosh, like this thing. Like I imagined myself walking across that stage. It was not meant for me to walk across that stage. I was meant to feel what it felt to be expelled. I was meant to go to Westbury, because had I not seen what Westbury looked like, I put me in the perfect position to compare and contrast. Fast forward, I ended up not with a good GPA, right? And my mom was on unemployment, and this, so I ended up working at the prison. At the time, I thought I was working at the prison to like just get out of the situation that I was in, not understanding, no, this is where you were placed, and it is for a purpose. And although I hated every day of going to work, and I'm talking to somebody out there, you hate your job. You can't stand them. You can't stand those people. You can't stand the situations that you're put in, but have you considered that this is for a purpose? So when I ended up quitting that job some years later, it was the stories that I heard, the people that I met, that made it like, oh, like I have I really know more so what that is like. I also know that when you treat people like animals, they will behave as such. If you treat a man like a human being, more likely than not, he will rise to the occasion. When I worked at the prison, it was yes, sir, no, sir. You know, it was, and people will rise to that occasion. But when you have grown up in this zip code, where you went to this school where these teachers treated you less than, and then you go home where your parent, let's be honest, right, were at a place for 8 or 10 hours where they weren't treated as the people that they're supposed to be, who are you supposed to become, right? And if that is so, as a community, it takes people like TK and people like Pat and people like Mink, right? Everything. Think about this. A refugee.
Yes.
A refugee who works at a college, who's wearing a suit and running for state representative.
Teaching Texas government.
Texas government. It's poetic, is what it is.
Yes.
And yes, Tara says, is that TK? Yes. Tara says, you wouldn't have been in the band. I wouldn't have been in the band. And y'all know how much I love the band, right? Played trumpet, saxophone, trumpet and marching, saxophone in jazz band. I was trying to learn the bass actually a couple of years back. Did you come to my place where I had the bass?
Yeah,
that didn't last long. It's hard to learn things after 30. But speaking of learning things,
right?
What have you learned? Because you're a teacher,
yes,
you're a professor.
Yes, sir.
What have you learned in this, in this race?
Oh, I learned. My mom have a saying: if you want to do something, don't expect nobody to help you.
Ooh.
They say if you don't prepare yourself, you depend on people, you'll be disappointed.
You know, I did a post earlier today. I literally this morning did a post where I said something about expectation. Read that?
Yeah. Expectation is the root of all disappointment.
Expectation is the root of all disappointment. If you go through, let me tell you something. If you expect something, you're likely to be disappointed.
Right.
If you expect nothing, whatever comes is an add-on. You know what I mean? What would you say that you've learned? Because it's a big step, and your election is April 4th. What have you learned just thus far as a candidate? What's been like shocking to you, or something that has been an aha moment for you?
I think it crystallized for me the other day. You know how people often say like, I'm an extroverted introvert. I know how to talk to people in a room, but I really like to be by myself. I'm the inverse. I am a introverted extrovert. I love talking to people, but because of early experiences, getting bullied for being effeminate, losing a job for being gay, and then I think often choosing jobs where I'm the leader in charge of a bunch of people and they're all looking at you and they're like, sir, what's the solution? I have been by myself a lot. And so I'm out here talking to folks. You got to really quickly listen to them, understand what they care about. You get your 30-second window to sort of make your pitch. And I just really realized like I get so much energy from talking to people. And in 2026, where we're all looking at our phones, flicking away, like seeing somebody in their eyes, knocking on their door, seeing their yard, seeing the little moments, I mean, really, really means a lot, especially with all the stuff going on in the world. And it reminds me like why Houston's such a great place to grow up.
How they sound on Family Feud? Good answer. Good answer. No, but you know that is so true. I'll say personally, I don't like people, genuinely, right? I think, and here's what I mean by that. It's not that I don't like people in general. I think the reality that most people have main character energy. I was just, like I said, I mean, Times Square, I sidewalk checked two separate times. And what a sidewalk check is, we're walking, you're waiting on me to move. We will chest bump. Okay. Especially, no offense, white people. Listen, it was two white women that, you know, just had the look like move. I'm like, okay, all right, Claire, you're gonna learn today. What would you say you have learned on your healing journey thus far? Because you just, let me brag for him. I mean, can I tell him what you've been doing for? No,
sure.
Okay. He was on sabbatical for 9 weeks. Tell us about that.
Oh, well, my healing started before my sabbatical, but I mean, I am learning so much. One of the things you just said, like expectations, you know, like I am moving more in a space of having gratitude, and not having expectations allows me to have gratitude for the smallest things right now, you know? And so even when you ask me how I was doing, although I'm aware that there's a level of hurt that I might be holding right now, I have gratitude to be in this space right now. You know, just to be in this room with positive energy, it helps me feel purposeful in my life in this moment. You know, for somebody to say, is that TK on the chat? I mean, somebody remembers me and knows me. I feel for Carisha to walk in and I see her and it's like,
man, you know everybody. He knows Quincy. He knows, they went to school together. This one here is like, if y'all know Tony Harris Taylor, who is one of the TEDx Third Award speakers, everybody knows Tony Harris Taylor and everybody knows TK. Everybody knows TK. And what's awesome about it, TK, is that you're not this selfish individual. You're not this person that, like Al Green, wrestles for power.
I'm glad I'm not on your bad side, bro.
Let me tell you.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
And that's how you do it. That's what you call shade. Look at that. But Paris is burning, by the way. But yeah, continue. I'm sorry.
No, I forgot what I was. I think you were talking, but
I want to build on the gratitude point. I think you learned this in campaigns.
Right.
Campaigns, there are so many moments where there's all these micro wins and micro losses. People don't show up. They don't volunteer, or they do show up and you're surprised. Yeah. People don't donate as much as you wanted to, or they donate amounts you didn't expect. And I said from the start of the campaign, I just have to have a lot of self-compassion for voters, donors, my opponents. We all just want to make this city better. Yeah. We have very different visions for that. But that mindset shift of gratitude, like celebrate the moments, I think really made this a lot more fun, because otherwise I'd be home every night like, this is what went wrong and someone still didn't show up and we didn't do this, but today we got B+. Like, let's be happy with that.
But you know what I kind of learned, and this is 39, like I've learned that there's a natural flow to life. And every time that I've gone with that flow, like when I looked at working at the prison, I hated when I looked at, I hated working at the top. I love him now. At the time, I didn't. And everybody has a top story. Everybody has a Texas organizing project story. But now that's water under the bridge.
Yeah.
Because he works there. Now, if y'all didn't have him,
I'm still at top.
He's still at top. I would have, and I love top too because now I look at it differently.
Yeah.
I look at like people that I used to go head to head with, like Bishop Dixon. I used to, when I was younger, hold to the megaphone because you only see things from your vantage point, right? So when I would see Bishop Dixon, okay, there's a police shooting, he does a town hall, he pacifies the people, hey, calm down, everything's good, right? But then I would later see like, oh, he actually has a part and he has good intentions, right? And Top, who like, it's different when you're working somewhere and they're making you work 16 hours a day and they pay you $36,000 a year, and they're using your face on posters and stuff. But there's a purpose in all of that. And if it weren't for Jenny Goldman, if it wasn't for Jane Junkin, if it wasn't for Chris Young, if it wasn't for all those people, I wouldn't have a nonprofit today. I got my training in the worst way, but that's the best way to get it. That's the best way to get it because that's how we become stronger. And so, no, I applaud that. And, to your point, this is your first time running for office?
Yeah, my first time candidate.
First time candidate. What is it like asking for money?
Oh, it's the worst part. I mean, I wish we had reformed to Citizens United. It doesn't feel very democratic. It feels like you have to cater to an audience that is, a small sliver of the country.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a proxy for how bad you want it and how bad you're going to work.
Yeah.
It is really, really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're on the phone, you're panicking, and somebody's there telling you, okay, ask them and ask for this.
And they're looking at, they're like,
they're showing you on a piece of paper.
You didn't push this hard.
They're tightening the noose even tighter. And then you have to ask. And then the thing that is surprising is the things people tell you, the things they share, they say, in like a really humanistic way. I mean, this is in that I can't donate and here's why. And it's like, oh man, this is where I mean self-compassion is like, you realize like, oh, everybody's dealing with a lot these days.
I think that's bullshit. Because here's the thing.
Okay.
Let me tell you why that's bullshit.
I'll start telling them this on the phone.
Let me tell you why that's bullshit. Here's the thing. When I ran, there were people who gave me $5. There are people who, I'm thinking of somebody right now who was like, I really can't donate like you need me to do. I don't have $1,000. I don't have $100. Like that, because that was part of my spill. It would be like, I would say, what can I put you down for and leave it open? And then there are some people who don't know what to say. So I have a number in mind, right? And I know who the 5,000 people are. I count your money, right? So for this one lady, I was like, some people drop in 100 because that's like she was like, I couldn't do it. I'm on fixed income. She was like, but I tell you what, I get paid on the first. I could send you 20. And when the first came, she was like, things are tighter than I thought. I can send you 5. And I sent her some of my own money back, right? But I think if someone wants to help, they'll donate $1.
Yeah.
That whole thing about accepting, because here's what ends up happening. In order for people like Mink Jawandor and Pat Oathout and TK to do what they do, and Carisha Rogers to do what they do, if you really truly believe in them, it's more than a Facebook like, it's more than a share. It is showing up if you can. Yes. And if you can't show up, it is donating $5. It is something. So I'm not gonna lie, but there's some people who I've spent less time around. That's because you said you were going to donate and then you stopped answering my calls. Yeah. Right? Be like, just say what the thing is. Like, I can't do it right now, or I can't do this, but I could do that. I'll phone bank. What time is your phone bank on Wednesday? I could do that virtually because there are other options. I think we have to call a thing a thing. Now, to your point about what you were saying about your mom saying like that you shouldn't expect support. Yeah. I believe that you shouldn't expect support from the people around you. I found the greatest success. What launched me was moving away. because the person who saw you hatch from the egg cannot imagine you flying, right? So you move away and then you land in no one saw you fall before. No one saw you get expelled.
So true.
No one saw that time that you needed to borrow $20 and this and that and blah, blah, blah. All they know that you have a clean slate. And people who don't know you have nothing to attach you to. And then you go out there and you blah, 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 blah. And then you come back and you're at the Black House and you're a member of the Fish Don't Find a Chicken Club, right? And now they got time. But now I ain't got time, right? Yeah, a little bit of that. A little bit of that. You know, sometimes I go. But no, this is really, really interesting. I think, you know, I do TEDx Third Ward and I get to choose the speakers. And a lot of people, you know, I explain this like putting a bouquet together and that like your own, you know, your campaign or your friend group or your whatever, you get to curate it. Like you are the curator in a museum.
You got to pick what you want.
You got to pick what you want. And, you know, they have a saying that like one monkey don't stop no show.
Right.
Have a monkey in here. We wouldn't be able to do the podcast. Right. So it actually does. And you actually do have a say in what those things are. Stevie said, is he talking about the YMCA of Houston? Who was that for, Stevie? The YMCA of Houston. Also, someone said, Tara was like, I've been trying to figure out who Patrick is. Right. So now she knows who you are.
Go to patrickforhouston.com and you can check me out there.
There you go. Absolutely. So, Mink.
Yes, sir.
What is it like to be a father and run a campaign at the same time?
Oh, I can tell you that. I get off work, go to the pools.
Yeah.
Then I leave the pools to pick up my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I wait till my wife comes back.
Wow.
Then I go back to the pool.
Tell us about your kids.
Oh, Mike, I have two kids. I have a boy and a girl. I love my daughter so much. I love my son. With my son.
Oh, see, son. Freudian slip. Keep going.
Yeah. So my son saw his name on the flyer.
Okay.
On the banner out there, and they're like, "Hey, Dad, that's me." I said,
oh, because he has your
my name. His name is Mink
so
as well. Mink
cool.
Jawandor. I said, Dad, that's my name. And
so
I'm like,
cool.
yeah, that's your name. I said, but that's not my picture.
Oh, oh, that's right. Because you're dad to him. You're not Mink.
Exactly.
Oh, that is so
that's
cool.
not my picture. He was expecting to see his name. Then also I took him around to pass out flyers when I was picking him up.
Wow.
And he was like, vote for my dad. Vote for my dad.
Oh, now that is it. You need to bring him.
Yeah.
You let him out of school. Excuse for
vote for my dad.
Gotta get you some
So that
votes.
kind of pushed me a little bit. I see, because I see my footsteps in my kid. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
is it cool, TK, if you switch places with Carisha?
Sure, absolutely.
And then Quincy, we have some speaking of elections, speaking of polls.
yes.
There are a lot of other elections that are going on, and the hobby school at the University of Houston has done some polling, and they've released some recent polling. We're going to put up some of them one by one. Quincy, whatever you put up, I'll talk about. This very first one. Now, this asks about the race for county judge. So it says, vote intention among likely March 2026 Harris County Democratic primary voters. In the Democratic primary race, we see that Anise Parker is 46, Letitia Plummer 25, Matt Salazar. Who's Matt Salazar? Does anybody know Matt Salazar?
Yeah.
Matt, where you been? Matt, where you been? And then 24% unsure. Carisha, what is this? What do you think about this?
I think so. From my understanding from that poll, they introduced they reviewed like 2,000 Democrats, 2,000 Republicans to get the results for this race. I think Letitia's still picking up steam. I think I want to say Anise, don't get too comfortable. I think Letitia's working a lot trying to catch up, because I think she knew going in that this was going to be tough.
Yeah.
And so I think but recently I'm hearing she's starting to gain a lot of momentum. So anything can genuinely happen on March 3rd.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love me some Letitia Plummer. I love me some Letitia Plummer, but Anise Parker is a freight train. Okay. Anise Parker, who's former mayor. I mean, you talk about name recognition. Nobody knows who the county judge is, right? Pat, you get elected, very few people will know. Okay? At that level.
Yeah.
Your precinct chairs and your civic club people will know, but a lot of people won't. And I think even though Letitia was elected citywide, I think that's what we're seeing here. Yeah. Let's put the next one up. We'll put the next one up. Really interesting to see this. So this right here, we see that this is the race for CD 18 and the new 18th. Yeah, Christian Menifee is at 52%, followed by Al Green at 28%.
That's not surprising at all.
At all, right? Get it right this time, people. Amanda Edwards is at 9%, and Gretchen Brown. Who's Gretchen? You know Gretchen? I don't know Gretchen either. Does anybody in the comments?
I thought Amanda drop off the race.
Who?
Amanda drop.
But she's stuck on the thing.
She's still on the ballot.
She's still on the ballot.
Intention.
She's still in a ballot. I'm gonna keep my comments to myself because I don't need y'all in my DMs. But I will say I'm glad to see this. What do you attribute this to?
I think the real consequences of what happened in CD18 before it being redistricted, we've lost 2 legendary Congress people back to back in less than the span of a year. And like, we respect and really do love Al Green, but with that happening, we have to really look and see how we invest in the district in the future, because yes, I know Green will be heavily mad about talking about age, but unfortunately it's a real conversation to have, because both of these Congress people, if I recall correctly, are younger than him. And so we have to keep in mind that we need someone that's going to be able to stay on this district and be able to serve and understand the updated needs of CD18, because it's not just housing, it's cost of living, it's one dealing with the Trump administration and their nonsense. It's so much more happening in the world that we need a congressman who can meet that moment. And right now, I feel like Christian is the candidate that can do that.
You see this right here? We need to elect this woman. Okay? You see what I'm saying? And Carisha, I'll add to it and I'll say, I don't even think it's age, because what normally comes out, and my city council member, Carolyn Evans Shabazz, she gets a little, you say anything about anyone who's over 50, anybody who listens to Johnny Taylor and Marvin Cease, anybody who can sing along to After the Pain. And all of a sudden, my council member, who I love me some Dr. Carolyn Evans Shabazz, but you say anything about somebody with some gray, and she's like, that's ageist, stop it. It's not. I would argue that when it comes to Al Green, he's been in office for so long that whether you talk about the cost of an apartment, how much money how much money people are making, everything has crumbled with him as the head, right? Yeah. With him in leadership, right? And what I will say, as someone so if you work in politics or if you work in issue-based, you know about earned media. Does everybody know about earned media? Let me explain it to you. Let me explain to you the way earned media works, because we see 45, aka 47, aka Trump, do it all the time. You make a spectacle, everyone pays attention to it, people are glued to the TV, right? And then you wield that power in some way. Trump used it to get the stupid people to vote for him, right? Al Green, at the State of the Union, holds up his cane and does this thing, right? And people are like, yay! He's on CNN and MSNBC the next day. Mm-hmm. Now he has the clips to put in the fundraising email to send out on the ActBlue, with the ActBlue link that says, look at what I'm doing. I'm standing up to Trump. What did it change? Nothing, right? This symbolic stuff has got to stop. Number 2, I will say, what has he done that is noteworthy to say, send me back, right? If you're the quarterback, okay, and you did a backflip in front of the band, hooray, hooray, but did you get a touchdown? Did you throw the ball and the receiver catch it? Did they play the fight song? No, you made a spectacle. We did not win the game, right? That's why people are not in the game. That's why people are not buying tickets. That's why they're not buying concessions, because we keep sending people like Al Green. And it is a travesty. Now, I said this. Carisha didn't say this. Pat didn't say this. Mink didn't say this. TK didn't say this. It is a travesty to see leadership who's supposed to be like guiding, They're supposed to be the ones to say, hey, Al, let's, right? But they're egging him on. The same way they've egged on people in the past, and that's how we ended up in this position in the first place.
Yeah, actually, just adding on to it. So, as he's a progressive caucus, we actually interviewed Congressman Green and kind of asked him the question about how would you help the next generation. And his answer was pretty much to, I'll just let the voters decide who the next generation is. And as much as I would love that to be a concept, I know the reality is that there are a lot of people that move the buttons to try to get candidates in office. Yeah. So what I would have loved to hear from him was how he would help invest into a group of people. Because I try to clarify to help him understand that, look, I'm not asking for the one particular leader. I'm asking for a new crop of leaders because we need that, especially when we have other forces constantly picking and selecting candidates. We need a crop of new leadership to help, stand up to the things, because you're not going to be around forever. I'm not going to be around forever. We need to have leaders understanding the fight. And he still was just like, I'll just leave it up to the voters. And I'm just like, as much as I would love to, it's not, unfortunately, not our reality.
It's not. You look at what happened in Austin with Greg Casar, who was a city council member and then became a member of Congress, and Lloyd, what was it? Lloyd Doggett, same situation, but he moved out of the way. And, I saw Tamara Bell, who does What's Your Point? And I love me some Tamara Bell. But she pointed to the fact that Al Green has seniority, right? What is he doing with it? What good is power if I'm not even saying that he has, sometimes there can be well-intentioned failure, right? It's obviously not working. People have student loans through the roof, housing prices, rent prices, jobs, this and that. And you want to run again? You knocked over the vase. You left the bathtub running. The kitchen is flooded. And you think we're going to let you babysit again? No. Go home. Go home, Roger. Sister. There's that. Put the next one up. Please. This is kind of fun. Now, this I thought was very interesting. Now, we have some red up here, right? Because, and I would argue that looking at trends, Harris County is not as safe as it could be. And I would argue that if y'all put Tallarico, now I said this, not y'all, but we've done this milk toast, unsweet tea candidate stuff before, right? Y'all want to do sit and be fit. Y'all want to season your food like Luby's and be shocked when nobody wants to come and line up to eat it. We want the Breakfast Club. We want Mickey's Soul Food Cafe. We don't want Luby's. Okay? Because, if you look at it in 2016, I think there was this populist wave, right? And on the right, they said the establishment said we want Jeb Bush. The crazies picked Trump, and they moved out of the way. And what happened on the left? Yeah. And we see here that the unsure is actually in the lead, or Orlando Sanchez has 21%. Very interesting. And then you have Marty Langton, who's been endorsed by the governor, says he's putting in millions of dollars in Harris County. And so has Mattress Mac. Hurt me to my heart. Mattress Mac. Save you money today and ruin the government. Yeah,
he supported Mueller the last time, so that's not surprising.
Yeah, very. But what are your thoughts about it, though?
I think who's Orlando Sanchez? First of all,
do you remember somebody threw a water balloon at him at a press conference a couple of years ago?
Oh, okay.
You remember that?
Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Marty's kind of far behind the Republican, especially with the level of support he has. So I
think these are primary voters. These are primary voters. I think if it was the general, it would be different. But these are Republican crime. These are people who wear a "Make America Great Again" hat in public.
That's probably why Marty's not doing this high right now, is because he's not America first.
And people hear union and they just, right?
Yeah.
So they assume. And so Orlando Sanchez, I would argue, in this, let's call a thing, and we're going to see it in one of the next ones. Go ahead, Quincy. We're going to see, I also put in here what some of the previous, and we're almost done, Quincy, what some of the previous polls have said about former races, right? So We see this is a general election view of what it's looking like for the gubernatorial race. We see that, see, you over there, it make you that mad? Greg Abbott,
that makes me mad.
7 points against Gina Hinojosa. And why are we just assuming that she's going to be the gubernatorial candidate?
It's because of the level of support that she has, and I think the only one in the race at this point that seems serious about trying to take on Abbott. There are a lot of
Chris Bell.
No,
you don't think so?
No.
Okay. I like Chris. Chris is good. I don't really know Gina Hinojosa. I know her dad. Put the next one up, Quincy. put the next one up. So y'all don't get me in trouble. Sharonda says, I absolutely abhor the fact that we have to declare one of the two parties in the primaries. That's crazy. Stevie said, I had to look Sanchez up, but I'm new to this. Sanchez has been what you call a perennial candidate. He just puts his name on about every election. He's running for something, and you see what ends up happening. You stay on long. We saw this with Burks. Remember Councilmember Burks? He slipped up and ended up in office. People just stay on long enough, and people just know their names, because sometimes we're stupid and we just vote for names that we know and we don't do our research. But this is looking at lieutenant governor. I'm a move. I just want you, and I've done it before. I'm a step away. If you know anything about my history, every 3 years I move, and it's about that time. Y'all let Dan Patrick become again. Keep it going. This was in keep the next one, please. So this is looking at the Republican U.S. Senate race where Ken Paxton, who had a Senate hearing where, I mean, I don't get it. But then when you think about it, Trump is the president, right? So, I mean, by that, like, maybe, see, we're the crazy ones because we're using logic and we're like, but why would they do that? Yeah, that's what it is.
So is MAGA essentially attracted to con artists, corrupted individuals?
But see, I think they see it as strength. I think they see it as like, he's not part of the system. They're out to get him. Like, I don't know. There are some folks that I respect, right? That I've genuinely pulled to the side and been like, explain it to me. It's just us, right? And a lot of times what you get is they're just loyal, right? The same loyalty that I would argue is going towards Al Green. Put the next one up. We have a little fun here. We have a little shade. There we go. Now this was the 2025. So this is what they said. They said 27 Christian Menifee, 23 Amanda Edwards. This was what their poll said. And I'm trying to remember when but this was earlier on. I do think that Christian sort of, I will say his campaign seemed more beefed up. Would that be safe to say? Yeah. It seemed like Jamie Ade and Delilah and everybody was over there. You sent emails, you got a reply, and I think he picked up steam as time went on. Sharonda says, Stevie said, what's your retirement age in your opinion? See, okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing around retirement, and I'll say this. So somebody asked why Al Green should step aside and Sylvia shouldn't, right? Sylvia's running for her congressional district. She's running for TX29. She's the incumbent, okay? Secondly, Sylvia does not have a Christian Menifee running against her. If she did, then I might consider it. She does not. It's apples and oranges. Al Green is going from the 9th to the 18th at the same time that the 18th just went through this whole thing and resoundingly chose Christian. Now, if it had been somebody else, I would have considered it, but that's the difference. So that's kind of where I am.
It was a long 330 days. It was really long.
Also Sylvia Garcia's iconic, Trump impeachment manager, worked a lot on all the Vanessa Guillen case up at Fort Hood, been such an advocate for veterans. And so, and a long history in Houston doing the work here.
And she's running a real campaign. Boop. Put the next one up. So we see that she has 46% over Jarvis Johnson. Robert Slater. Now I will say this. Robert Slater has a lot of energy. He has a lot of energy. I like the fact that he is, just stepping out there and doing his own thing. I would love to have him on the show. I would love to talk to him, even if not here, like just somewhere. I'm working on a couple of pieces for a couple of different outlets. More on that later. But yeah, I would love to, and I love to see somebody new that's running. I also think Isaiah Martin is someone who should have had arms wrapped around him. Now, okay, so Carisha, tell me what's the hate? And because I like Isaiah. I think Isaiah is awesome. I think you tell me what, and not you personally, but what you've heard, because I don't know what the thing is. Go ahead.
I mean, the thing that I've heard is, it comes down to service. I think it's one of the key things that he needs to work on if he's going to continue to run for anything here in Houston, because people want to know what you've been doing in Houston before running.
But do they put that up to everybody? Yeah. Look at everyone. I mean, and service is subjective.
True.
And service, if we start to say that, there's this new requirement that you are a precinct chair and that you do this list of things over here in order to be considered a serious contender, then we end up with a flatlined Congress and a flatlined city council.
But service doesn't have to be just one way, right? It can be just a variety of things. But I think his definition of progressivism is a lot different from mine.
Got it.
Or not mine, or people in the community that we've had conversations with about it. And it becomes like, are you really?
Well, people, I'll say this. I don't consider myself a progressive. Right. Like, according to like anybody's definition, like I don't consider myself anything.
I mean,
like I'm not a blood, I'm not a crip, I'm not, because in a way, I'm an anomaly, right? Because I grew up at 5638 Selinsky, Crestmont Village next to Foxwood, and now I don't, right? And, I think there's like this spectrum, and I think that progressive is a term that has been bastardized. I didn't cuss, Mom. Look at that. It's one of them $10 words. But I do think that there becomes this new echo chamber of what is and what isn't, and who you must support and who you mustn't support. And it's like, if any of that worked, it would attract more. I do believe that, like, people have you shouldn't be beaten into submission. Right. Now, I do think that right is right and wrong is wrong, but no, I don't sign me up for none of that. Like, no, like I have my beliefs and they're my beliefs, and we have freedom of speech and we have freedom of thought. And when you start saying like, oh, you like chocolate cake, then you're a bigot. And it's like, no, that's not how the world works. And I don't like,
I also think, I think the Democratic Party is sorting itself out post 2024 still. I mean, right now we often talk about what we're not and not what we are. And, there's been examples all over the country of like really great progressives in New York, for example, Mamdani, and then examples, of centrists all over too. And so honestly, the presidential primary is going to determine the soul of this party, I think, because we're going to have to coalesce around a message and then run for our lives on it.
Yeah. If they let us, they usually can't choose candidates for us. And we just oblige. Next one.
Forced to.
Yeah, we're forced to. We disagree. It just, goes. Now, this is the one that I was waiting on because who are you with? There you go. We're doing me and some really cool people. So myself, Dr. Carla Brown, Kayla Brown, Honorable Representative Ron Reynolds, several other folks that are all putting our thoughts together to raise money. Carisha?
Yes.
Okay. We're raising money for Jasmine Crockett. there's a fundraiser day after tomorrow. Day after tomorrow. This is going to be like my 6th fundraiser that I've hosted. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the thing. I just crossed collaboratively, like, set up the thing and bring other people in, the $500,000 mark. $500,000. Our goal.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
I put it on my LinkedIn. I am. So our goal this Friday is $35,000. And so I was dialing for that. So I'm not a candidate, but I was like, boop, boop, calling the folks, because you'll learn as you run and as you continue to raise money, people trust you and you're able to do those things. You're able to call on them and they will do it. So go to my Facebook page. Or did you share?
Yeah, it's on my Facebook as
well. Go to
Carisha's.
I don't know I think I put it on TikTok. The link is out there. Reach out or put it below, put a question below, and we'll put the link. And I would love to. We're gonna have some really cool knickknacks, some good food. We were talking about it's gonna be brie and camembert. Listen, we're doing it up on Friday at the Black House at an undisclosed location.
Okay.
Put the next one up, and then we're about to close out. This is what they looked at. This was their polling for 2024 for the general. They had Ted Cruz at 50. They had Colin Allred at 46. We know it was a bloodbath because we chose unsweet tea. You ever go to a restaurant and you order unsweet tea? Now, I like to dress my tea up, right? I like to squeeze the lemon, right? And I like to use some honey, right? Or something like, depending on where you're at. And I get it just right. And you're having conversation with the table. And then you look up and they have refilled your tea.
Oh, man.
And now you have to start over, right? So I started putting a napkin over it so that they have to ask you. And that's what it felt like voting for Colin Allred. But he's so much better than Ted Cruz. And I will say this to Tallarico. It's been rumored, and a Black woman said it. We have no, Erin is her name, I think. Erin said that Tallarico said that he didn't know that he was going to have to run against, he thought he was running against a mediocre Black man. He didn't know that he would have to face Jasmine Crockett. My argument was, he said it. So then I did this thing about how, and I did it right here, where Tallarico, and again, if either of them win, I'll vote. Listen, either of them, but I'm just supporting Jasmine. So I'm not one of those people that are like, if Tallarico wins and I will not, no, because I'm an adult, right? So I said that he couldn't do that. And then I went on this facetious thing where I was like, he also can't do this and he also can't do that. And I think his name was Marlon Smith or something, was like, you're defending blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, reading is essential. Read the whole post and listen. But thoughts there?
I mean, one thing I will encourage people is that as Democrats have to do better, especially white leaning Democrats, just got to call it out there, because if both of these candidates run, we both think they're both strong candidates, but I think especially from the white left, they have been very unnecessarily vitriolic towards Jasmine. When it comes to it, it's just like, okay, if you're gonna vote Tallarico, that's fine. I like both of them, or at least up to that point. And it's just like, you don't have to come for Jasmine as hard as you did, because y'all didn't cover Colin as bad, especially either this recent race or the previous one he ran. We knew his campaign, especially the last go around, was awful.
They didn't want you taking pictures. We have a fundraiser for him, and they're like, no one should have their phones and out. And I'm like, do y'all want to win?
Yeah.
You got a room full of precinct chair, Miss Cecilia Fontenot over there, Kathy Bluford. You need help. Are you paying attention? And so
I just want to, I think it's undebatable that we have two once in a generation candidates here, and whichever one doesn't get to the primary, it could be a blessing in disguise for them, because maybe they lose eventually to whoever is on the Republican side, and that other person then can say, you should have given me a chance, and then their career takes a rocket ship somewhere. So I mean, I think they're both amazing, and I think they're gonna have long careers here. You're giving me a look like I'm giving the political answer.
No, if it was that, I would have called it out. I would have called bullshit. But you answered in a very thoughtful and meaningful way, and I think this is what we need on city council, and that's why I endorse you for District C.
Thank you. That was good.
On April 4th through April 4th. I don't even know. Do you know when early votes start?
March 18th.
Look at this. When is your election again? I'm messing with you. March 3rd. Okay. Okay, and then this is showing like, wow, the governor. So, but here's the problem with it. With a thing like this, you have her at 37 and you have unsure at 32. So, what does that really mean? It's like the time that Amanda Edwards put out. Let me just stop because that's water under the bridge. Put the next one up.
Yeah, she got.
That's the last one.
She got to do more to get her name out there.
So put the Black House back up there, and I will say thank you so much to Mink Jawandor, who's running for state representative in the 149th. Yes. I'm surprising you with an endorsement. I fully endorse your candidacy. You're welcome. Yes, I don't know. Let me tell you, people have been in my inbox arguing over endorsements. I'm like, who am I? Why do you care? I'm not putting out a push card, right? What does that mean? Are you? I heard that you blah blah blah. Donna Glover in my inbox talking about. Let me tell you why. So I shared where the Chronicle endorsed Daryl. What's his last name? Jordan. Yeah. And she was like, "Oh, so you endorsed him?" I'm like, "Why do y'all care? Does the Durell bump count for anything? I don't think so." Patrick Oathout, if elected, would bring the photogenic city council member number to 4. You guess who the other 3 are? Carisha Rogers, who is an amazing organizer. So proud to have you join us here at the Black House, and you're at the Harris County Attorney's Office. You're going to continue to do great work there. They're lucky to have you. And lastly, the one and only TK, Terrence Kuntz, who's been pumping. What is the workout plan, man? What you do? You do push-ups? You do calisthenics? You one of them? Oh, I don't do.
Healing.
Healing.
Yeah.
Healing. All right. Well, y'all, don't forget, early vote between now and which day you would know?
Between now and February 27th. Yeah.
27th. Yeah. Between now and February 27th. Go ahead and do it. 7A to 7P. Mm-hmm. I will say it's weird because 2 of the places that I normally early vote, neither of them were polling. Okay. I just naturally went to one and I'm like, oh, I don't see the signs. And
that's
then I went to.
It's no longer a joint primary, so they have to put a lot more resources to each polling location.
Oh, so they do it according to where that. Okay, so Westgrade for Dems is Champions Forest for the Republican.
Yeah, it becomes a mess, which is why I went back when I was at the HCDP. The former assistant county chair was fighting so hard to keep it as a joint because it stretches out the resources of the county clerk's office.
Yeah, because I went to 2 places. I was planning on voting today. I thought about it yesterday. I put it off, and then I was like, okay, I got to do it on Wednesday. And then both places I went, neither of them were polling locations. So then I went online and I'm like, I got to go to Wheeler, which is not that far. Wheeler's not that far. I did live down the street from Wheeler, but I don't like going over there because they have so much stuff going on at Wheeler. You know what I mean? It's an active church. I like going to the Judson Robinson where nobody knows where it is. I can get in and get out. With that, find your polling location. Watch us every Wednesday at 7. Vote for these 2 gentlemen. Okay. And with that, thank you and good night.